What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today, talking about KIZUNA KAIDO, finally live here on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global, and today, as per usual, we're going to be having 3 free-to-play teams, 1 for each variation, and then also 3 being my personal teams against each of the variations, so there should be timestamps on the video timeline and also in the video description to skip to a certain team that you guys want to see. But before we get into that, I want to talk about just the KIZUNA Clash in general, and actually just give my thoughts on everything about it. The actual character that we farm for, this Kaido, is really bad. Like, I'm talking, this character should have probably released in, like, 2017. This character is very, very bad. So, you know, if you don't get the new Kaido maxed out, it's not a massive loss, I would say, because I don't see too many situations where this Kaido is going to be useful, as at least that's what I think right now. So, I guess we'll see in the future if this guy's ever going to see use, because at the moment, he's not very good. But let's go check out the exchange. I actually have not checked out the exchange yet, so this is going to be interesting to see what kind of things are going to be available here. So you see that I actually am getting all these pop-ups again because I did transfer my device recently to a new phone. So yeah, I have to download everything and favorite all my units again. It's a big pain, but let's just talk about this, right? Let's see what we got. So box 1, we have a special rare recruit and also a copy of Kaido. So again, the special rare recruit, I actually don't know what banner this would be pertaining to. Probably the one with Trafalgar Law V3 on it, the one with Chopper and Robin, maybe. I'm not really too sure, because there's no KIZUNA Clash Sugo Fest that comes alongside this at the moment, so I don't know, it's really confusing. Either way, another 4-star rare recruit ticket, another copy of Kaido in box 2. So box 2, it doesn't look too crazy right now. Box 3, okay, box 3 is important. You want to make sure you're getting these limit break materials for Luffy and Hancock, which, by the way, are fantastic for this KIZUNA Clash. So if you have them, you know, you should, I think you can get a maximum of 8 nodes at the moment, and then you'd be able to get 4 copies of the nodes again, so you can get them to 12. So yeah, they're very, very good for this KIZUNA Clash. So you can get a copy of their limit break materials, more Kaido, I assume. Who is this one? Luffy and Hancock being the copies, I would say. And then Guiding Stone for Marco and Ace, and Zoro and Sanji. Interesting. Oh, and this Magellan is back as well. The KIZUNA Magellan. Very, very good unit, by the way. Again, with the rare recruits, box 4. It looks to be pretty much the same. We got some scrolls here as well, box 5. Again, very similar. And we've got some cotton candy, plus 5s, okay, and some more scrolls. And we have box 6, which again looks, pretty similar. We got some forbidden tomes, and we have some candies, and we have some scrolls. And then box 7, how many tablets do we have? We have 5 tablets from 1,000 items. That's actually pretty good. But again, there's no, like, of the new ones, there's no fear resistance, there's no ship bind resistance, just the generic ones that we all know and love, as well as the damage reduction ones, and plus 5 cotton candy. You got some not forbidden, but proof of friendships as well. So it looks okay. I mean, a pretty stock standard KIZUNA Clash. Again, just make sure to go ahead and farm this to get your copies of the character, and also to get the limit break materials of Luffy and Boa Hancock, because that unit is really, really good. So I guess that's about it. That's all I really wanted to talk about at the beginning of this video, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of this KIZUNA Clash. So getting into the swing of things first is going to be the free-to-play team. So this is going to be against the versus int variation. This team, just all in all, was relatively solid, and we are using the Luffy and Boa Hancock character as the captain. And if you are at that situation right now, where you have, you know, as much cooldown as you possibly can get on the character, you'll see that you actually do need to stall just a little bit, just to ensure that their special is ready for when you reach the final stage. Otherwise, you're going to be in a little bit of strife in terms of getting their buffed captain effect, because remember, being a dual unit, you need to use their special in order to get their buffed captain effect, and their special is amazing. It changes all orbs including block into matching. You get the 2.25 color affinity for Psi and int characters, and remember, Trafalgar Law is boosted in this KIZUNA, and he is super effective against all types. So Luffy and Boa's color affinity works for Trafalgar Law, and it's an exceptional combination, and because it's a Luffy and Boa character, you can have some really good supports that attach to them as well. In terms of this KIZUNA though, Hawkins here on stage 2 gives you 5 turns of despair and 3 turns of attack down. The Robin on this team gets rid of both of those, which is quite nice. And then the final boss Kaido has full immunity buff, so you can't use any conditional boost. You also have 99 turns of normal attacks only, which does kind of suck, and also rewinds all of your specials for 1 turn and gives you 5 turns of paralysis. and also gives you block orbs in your left column. So lots of annoying little effects here, but of course we have a lot of ways to get around it. We get rid of the paralysis with Halloween VV and Christmas Nami, and also Halloween VV states that if your captain's free spirit when you launch the special, then you get your cooldown. You get a special cooldown reduction, which is great because VV has the Sailor effect to resist special reverse, so it's a really nice way to get your cooldowns back. We've got Luffy Boa for color affinity, Law for his chain and his orb boost. We've got Weevil for an attack boost here. Just all in all, this team is relatively cohesive, relatively easy to build, and gets the job done. So I'll leave you guys with this team and we'll move on to the next boss variation. Moving on to the free-to-play team versus strength. Now, this team, I wouldn't fully advise it either. The thing about this specific team is I totally forgot that the final boss Kaido on the strength variation, when you defeat him, he revives with 21% of his max HP. So ideally what you'd want to be doing is replacing a character on this team with Invasion Garb, so that when he revives you can just use the Invasion Garb special. But also something to note as well is that you do get inflicted with burn. 4 turns of burn you get inflicted with on the final stage. So something potentially that you may want to do is, if you have Legend Smoker, you could potentially run double Legend Smoker, who is actually boosted on this KIZUNA Clash, and by using both of his specials and his super type, you can carry a huge boost into the next stage and also resist the burn that would get inflicted. And also on stage 2 with Jack here, he does have 3 turns of defense up, but overall not really too tricky to get through. And also you get inflicted with bind in your middle row, so ideally if you've got a character that removes bind, put them in your top or your bottom row to ensure that you are able to get rid of that. And yeah, as I did mention, you know, the fact that he revives with the 21% just means that you do have to utilize Legend Garb. I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to, but definitely in high nav levels, I say high nav levels, but high KIZUNA Clash levels, the fact that his HP is going to be relatively high, you want to be making sure that you can get around that, right? So Invasion Garb is just making it a lot easier rather than having to attack again, because when he revives, he also gives you 4 turns of attack down. So yeah, just adding to the fact that Invasion Garb is going to be probably your best free-to-play option in this particular fight. And now moving on to the final free-to-play team of the video is going to be versus the Psy variation. This one is also actually relatively good, but I do kind of screw up the special activation order here. And something to note as well is, you know, Sangor, I don't know why I put him on the team. I just put him there because it was the first int character that I saw on my team that would work under Trafalgar law, basically. But Sangor is not needed on this team. But characters that are needed that really help you out here is Kobe Meppo, really good unit because you can use their special ability to get rid of damage threshold when you reach stage 2, which is nice. And also the new treasure map Rager is very, very good on this versus Psy variation, because on the final boss stage the enemy has defense down immunity and delay immunity, so you can go ahead and use the Rager special to not only give you a poison conditional attack boost, but also the final boss has 5 turns of damage reduction, and Rager gets rid of that, which is just phenomenal. She is just, she's legit the perfect unit for this fight, so if you do have her, it makes it a lot easier. But something to note as well is that all of the int super types are also boosted for this event, so if you've got super type Katakuri, which you guys are going to be seeing a little bit later on in this video, or super type Blackbeard, both of which are relatively good options for this fight as well. But do remember that V3 Law is super effective against all types in this KIZUNA Clash, so if you do have him, you can definitely use him on any of the bosses that you want. And remember, he does have, you know, the increased stats, so he does a lot of damage, but he also has the 1.5 times ticket boost. So I would probably suggest, if you can, to build a team with Trafalgar Law on all of these boss variations, because he's just a phenomenal unit, right? But also allowing you to get more tickets to ultimately get more rewards from the KIZUNA Clash. So now we can go ahead and move on to the personal teams that I have this time. So this is going to be my team versus the int variation. So currently, as it stands, this team is absolutely ridiculous. Now, one thing to note is we do have the support of Kozuki Odin attached to Goldie Roger, which, if you guys don't know, what his support does is that when you reach the final boss stage, he changes the character that he supports, Orb, into a Wano slot. So Roger's going to be doing more damage. Now that is nice, but that's not the only reason why we do that, is because there is also an added effect with that support that states that it will go ahead and reduce the character's cooldown by 1. And because we get inflicted with special reverse, we allow Roger's special to be ready, which means that we can use his special before we use Luffy's special, because Luffy is also there on our team to reduce the cooldowns of our characters, which is obviously very, very good. And he also gets rid of the paralysis, which is great. But of course, we want to make sure we use Roger's special first, because he gives us the higher attack boost. So that we've got Roger for the attack boost and his amazing captain effect, which also gets rid of the despair on stage 2. We've got Luffy for the paralysis, Law for the orb boost and the base chain effect. Sabu, as you guys would have just seen, gets rid of the attack down and gives us color affinity. And then our final character on the team, I actually can't remember who it was. It's Rayleigh, that's right, Rayleigh, because we get color affinity and also enables us to use super type. Super type ultimately giving us more color affinity against the boss. This team is going to do a ton of damage. I don't know the maximum damage potential that it has, but it is going to be absurdly high. So let's go ahead and move on to the next variation of bosses. So now moving on to my personal team versus the strength variation. This team is not perfect, I'll admit, but it does help us get more tickets, and that was one of the main components that I really wanted to use here, because there was no like character that I really wanted to go out of my way to use for this KIZUNA Clash, except the side team, which you guys will be seeing in just a moment. But I just decided to run this team at the moment. But one thing that is kind of going to be a roadblock moving forward is going to be the infliction of burn on the final boss stage. The fact that you get inflicted with that burn means that because the boss revives, you do have to find a way around that burn, and it means you either have to run a character to remove it, or you have to go ahead and hit a bunch of goods or greats to ensure that you do not hit your perfects. And that's basically what I just do at the moment here, is while I'm using this double law. Now you do get inflicted with 5,000 damage per burn hit, so realistically, I actually can hit all of my perfects. It's actually not that big of a deal. So, you know, it actually isn't that big of a deal at the moment. It does depend on your team composition though, because, you know, obviously it's 5,000 damage per perfect with the burn, and if you got 6 characters on your crew, it's 30,000 HP. So if you have less than 30,000 HP, you do have to be very, very careful about that. Otherwise, you know, you don't have to worry, realistically, actually. And then obviously when he revives, we have Invasion Garb to just kill him. So it's pretty straightforward once again. Double law for enhanced tickets, of course. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the final boss variation. Okay, so now we move on to the final boss variation, where I wanted to go ahead and use my boy Mr. Slam Jam. I'm so happy that I'm able to use this guy once again. He is phenomenal against Psy content, which of course a lot of the content coming up is going to be Psy. So here we have I was going to say Trafalgar Law, but Trafalgar Law is on the team because enhanced tickets, of course. But of course, he has the amazing orb boost. He has the base chain effect. Now we do have the Nami on the team from the Super Type Celebration, who is essentially just there to go ahead and reduce our crew's health, which will enable Katakuri Katakuri to launch his super type special and his conditional boost. But one thing to note is we are using Reiju to remove the threshold on stage 2, and the conditional boost that Reiju has is a 3-turn conditional boost. Now you can actually just go ahead and hit your perfects and just full on, you can actually use a Katakuri special here for an attack boost. You can just kill this guy in 1 turn. It's not going to be that difficult to do. But the thing about it is if you do kill in 1 turn, you move into the final boss stage with a 1.75 conditional, whereas when you use Katakuri special, it's going to be a, what do you call it? It's going to be a 2 times conditional, right? So realistically, you could just go ahead and use Katakuri special first, and then go ahead and use Reiju special to ensure that your second Katakuri special will give you that conditional boost on that stage. But obviously, either way you go around it, just ensuring that the Reiju special is no longer active when you move into the next stage, so that when you activate your Katakuri special, you get his conditional compared to Reiju's. But then again, we also have the activation of Kuzan here. Kuzan is great because he removes the 5 turns of Rainbow Shield, as well as giving us the enhanced color affinity, and then of course all the other specials just give us just so much damage, and you'll see here we easily one-tap the boss. But that is going to conclude this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.